What's happening? Welcome to Haunters Hangout. This is season 11, episode 4. We're going to talk about home haunters, about all their haunt stuff, their props, all the good stuff that we do on Halloween and rush around and want to kill ourselves over. But they're going to show us how to do it easier, right, guys?
No. Harder.
Okay. With that being said, we're going to hand it over to Pandora. She's going to let us know what we have in store and how do you win the prizes.
Hey everybody, welcome to season 11, episode 4, Epic Home Haunters, part 1. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much to our sponsors for this season for providing us with such amazing prizes this year. I mean, the amount of stuff is just insane. So we thank you guys so much for providing those for us, and we thank you guys for being here and making sure that you go see our sponsors for all your haunt needs. All your haunt needs. All right. So for tonight, we have from Halloween Shirt Company a free shirt. From Unsub Masks, we have the Doll Face Killer Mask. From Atmos Effects, we have a free download of the Hall of Haunts. From Ned's LEDs, we have a change this week. We have the deluxe 12-volt LED sample pack, one of each color that Ned's offers: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, UV, cold white, and warm white. Plus, watch out for something extra special in your delivery, he says. So thank you very much, Ned. For Monsters Alive, $25 off. From Rotten Prop Works, we have a set of zombie arms. From Toxic Effects, we have Rotten Pumpkin #1. From Fright Night Studios, we have a Frankenpumpkin. From Cobwebs and Candlesticks, we have the Cosmic Idol, which I thought was super cute. Nightmare Makers, one unfinished skull from the 5 variations that they make. Drop Dead Design Studios, 25% off. And from 916 Productions and Fear Finish, $25 off. From Froggy's Fog, a gallon of bog fog. From Horror Ornaments, 1 free ornament. From Fright Props, $50 off. From Scare It Badges, $50 in free badges plus free shipping. That's amazing. From Haunted Hills Production, Necro Nurse Mask. And from Monster Misfits, 1 bottle of Monster Blood. And Vic has always been super kind to include a little something extra for everybody as well. So again, thank you so much to our sponsors. Thank you, all of you, for being here. And all you need to do to win a prize tonight is ask a question of our guests. Even if I am not able to get to you or to your question, you are still entered to win that prize. So thank you so very much to all of you for being here. One other thing, real quick. Please make sure that you give our streaming software the ability to see your name when you ask a question. Please go to facebook.com/ I'm sorry.
Back it up.
Please go to streamyard.com/Facebook and click on the link that says I don't know. It specifically says something about letting us give permission to see your name so that we can post that. It's a privacy thing. Thank you very much, Steve, for posting that. I appreciate you greatly. I see that. All right. And with that, Phil.
Woo! Right. Well, welcome everybody. I think I saw in the comments already, drinking word. I think we need to start off the night with a drinking word. And okay. I think I shared it earlier, home haunter. I think we're gonna stick to that one.
Fucking Nate.
Here we go. Yeah. Home haunter.
So home haunter is the drinking word. So anytime we hear that, we drink. So
damn, I don't got that liquor.
I know we're in trouble tonight. Well, welcome everybody. We got an amazing show lined up for you guys tonight. I already saw some of the pictures, and they're going to blow you away. So without further ado, let's start out here with Sean. Sean, why don't you introduce yourself and give us a little background on yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sean. I'm in Denver, Colorado. I run a home haunt here in Colorado called Wicker Manor. Not Wicked Manor, it's Wicker. Because that's the name of the neighborhood that I live in. A lot of people get that confused. But yeah, so I've been home haunting. It's probably it's either 5 or 6 years. I don't really remember the exact year it started, and it started as kind of more of a yard display, and then equally got more ridiculous as years went by, until I got sick and tired of covering stuff with because of snow and that sort of thing. So eventually moved it into the garage, and we take over a 300 square foot space each year, and it's pretty exciting. Yeah, I don't know what else to tell you about it, but we're looking to move into a full-time space here soon, so we might not be home haunters too much longer, but still are
Woo!
present moment.
That's cool.
There you go.
That's big news.
Congratulations.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
Got any inspirations? Anybody follow some stuff like that?
Oh yeah, I got a lot of inspirations. I feel like my inspirations are usually different from other haunters. I come from a design background, and a big part of that is animation studios like Disney, film studios like Universal. I literally just 2 seconds ago got an alert that the new movie from Disney, Haunted Mansion, is just put out their first trailer. So it's stuff like that that gets me inspired. I've been going to actual haunted houses since I was probably 10 years old with my older brother. And so I'm definitely a haunted house enthusiast, but I lean more on the spooky and creepy and less gory and more kind of introduction into this type of thing through ages like 6 to 60. So I try to keep everything as entertaining as possible and terrifying as possible, but still be accessible to kids of age down to like 4 or 6-ish.
That's
So
awesome.
that's really my target, is trying to really get all different ages involved.
Very cool.
Bring that money in from everywhere.
Yeah.
Bring the kids. Bring
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
Don't matter. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you, Sean. I'm gonna move over now to Forde. Forde, why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay. My name's Forde Sanders. I have a haunt called Killington Lane. I actually live on a street called Kensington Lane, but Kensington Lane is not very creepy or scary, so I kind of changed a few letters or words there to Killington. I'm in Bloomfield Township, Michigan, which is about 20 miles north of Detroit, not too far from Deoblo. I started my haunt in 2011, and like most haunters and stuff like that, it was a really lame yard haunt with it sort of looked like a garage sale out front, and the typical props of skeletons and witches and really bad tombstones that were store bought and things like that. And then just over the years and stuff like that, I've sort of finessed it more and more to kind of like look. I sort of like look at a lot of images of it. There's a cemetery in England called Highgate, and there's another cemetery in New Orleans called the St. Louis Cemetery, I believe. And those are kind of some of my inspirations for that. But it's my haunt's mainly pretty focused on being what I call on my signs that I stick up to lure people in to look at it, a sort of a zombie infested cemetery where I have a bunch of Spider Hill animated zombies that move around and so forth, with the usual thunder and lightning and lighting and fog and so forth.
Awesome.
Nice.
And how long you been doing your home haunt for?
So yeah, I mean, I started in 2011, and then every single year, I sort of I started to, it's, as like you guys all know, it's very addictive. And so, you start, looking at what you got, then you start looking at what other people are making and things like that. And, you look at guys, I looked at people like Pumpkin Rod, who's just like, off the charts with the creatures that he makes. And then in Ann Arbor, Deoblo would be familiar with, there was a guy that had a home haunt called Brandywine, was really incredible, kind of almost like Disney studio level stuff. And then I looked at, YouTube and look at Steve's Haunted Yard and Davis. And then there was a Canadian guy, Ichabod Crane. I, saw a lot of his stuff that was sort of similar to what I was doing, Boneyard Creep. and and just kind of like stole all the the best ideas from everybody else that I saw out there that I liked.
Hey, trust me, hey, we all stole from somewhere.
Yes, we
I
did.
came from somewhere.
Yes, we did. We're all inspired.
Hey, we just made it our own.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Forde. We'll come back to you here.
All right.
All right. Next up, Dylan.
Hello, I'm Dylan Jacobs. I run Hour of Darkness Haunted House in northern Utah. It's about 30 minutes north of Salt Lake. We've been doing this, at our current house for about 5 years. We started to do a home haunt. Got a drink. Probably about 2006 was our first indoor in the garage. And then, excuse me, then we were searching for the identity of our home haunt, which would include our house, because we were looking to move and we wanted to find a house that fit our theme, which we found, and you'll probably see a photo of that. And I mean, the inspiration came from Haunters Hangout. I mean, some of these things people post, they're amazing, and you sit there and you look at it and you stare at it, and I mean, it's amazing, and it's something you want to do, and it, like Forde said, it's addicting, and you just keep continuing, try to add on as much as you can. Projects become unfinished, but they do get finished, and you just try to find that next step. That's someone would look at you and say, hey, this is amazing, this is good.
Now, Dylan, when you do your home haunt, do you change your theme every year, stick to the same theme? What do you guys do?
Yeah, we're kind of stuck on the same theme. It's kind of it's different portions. I mean, the actual haunt is designed to split up into 4 different areas if we were ever to take it anywhere, to elaborate on the 4 different types of scenery. And so we kind of keep it. I mean, obviously we have all the same masks and everything. It's kind of the same theme, although we don't really have like an actual backstory. It's just kind of a fluent scenery view, I guess. So
that's awesome, though. That is really cool. And then, do you guys?
Cool. We're gonna have to change the drinking word, man.
I know. I think we're screwed here. I can't keep getting up. Missed my segue. I think we're already like 8 deep already. I was like, I'm gonna get everybody drunk by 9:30. I'm like, welcome to the Home Haunters show.
I know. Hey, I just made mine and it's gone.
Yeah, and just for the record, everybody, the chat is moving super fast tonight. Thank you all for being out there and being engaging with one another and with us. We appreciate it. So chat's moving fast, so I'll try to get to as much of you as I can. And thank you, Phil, for noticing some of that too. Yeah.
Well, let's see here. Let's get into the good stuff. Let's get to these pictures. All right, Sean. So what do we got going on here?
Oh man. Okay. So yeah, this year, what we're looking at in this photo, well, I guess it's technically last year, but so we have a 2-car garage. That's where the primary haunt is. And the biggest thing that we chose the garage for is so we could close the door each night and not have to worry about anything. This past year, we're on to answer some of the questions I saw in the chat. So we're on like a 2-year theme cycle. So the first couple years was like a Victorian mansion. And then like the current theme is haunted gold mine. So it's like set Western era. And so one thing I try to do each year is try to do something new. And this past year, one of the big things that was new was creating a shooting gallery, because that kind of matched the theme of like a gold mine. So we wanted to create a shooting gallery. So essentially really just started getting down to it. Bought a BB gun, ripped it apart. We put a laser in it. We built a whole control system, Arduino based, and then 3D printed targets that checked for the infrared coming out of the laser of the gun. And so this whole thing was a very, very thorough process on how we like built from start to finish a shooting gallery from scratch. And then since we already had all of these kind of props, all the props that you're seeing right here, right now, are just props that didn't end up getting used at all in a haunt. So we just had a whole bunch of props laying around that were like, okay, like how can we get, all of these props still used? So in this one, I think we have 2 pneumatic props and about 5 different electrical props. So the goal was kind of twofold: do something new and interactive. So we had like 2 lines. We had a line for the haunt and then a line for the shooting gallery. And then the shooting gallery ended up being really fun.
How hard is that actually to build? Because I've always wanted to do it, but it seemed like way complicated.
It's extremely complicated. We actually put a whole tutorial.
You just shot my goals down now.
Not the answer I was looking for.
Yeah, sorry. Unless you know a lot of programming languages, and then like how to 3D print stuff, and then also how to build like controller boards from scratch. It's not impossible, and we actually made an entire YouTube series on how to build our shooting gallery.
Okay.
So if you go to our YouTube channel, you can actually learn how to build it.
Nice.
Well, while we're talking about it, where can people find that video?
You just search Wicker Manor on YouTube, and I think we're really essentially the only thing that's going to pop up since it's such a unique name. But it's all on there.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I might try that shit.
So is this the line for the shooting gallery, or
this is one night the line for the haunted house, actually. So yeah, this is just right outside the garage where we queue people up to go inside the elevator.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Ooh. Sorry, folks.
Yeah, and there's some more shooting gallery stuff. Yeah, so I would definitely recommend go watch that if you're interested in learning how to build something like that. We also have like a link where we have all the 3D print files you can download and all the stuff that you can buy on Amazon to do it yourself. So
If
Do you guys sell that stuff too, or no?
no, we don't make any money from this. We literally just blow all of the money. Yeah, we each year, and I think I saw this in the questions too, is do you charge? No. The first couple years we find a nonprofit, a new one each year. And then the first couple years we used it as an opportunity for our family to donate as well. So we would match 100% of whatever was raised and then donate the full amount.
Nice.
But after year 2, and we had like
too much
lines down the block, it was like, okay, like we're already investing however many months it took to build it, plus pay for certain things. And so we're like, okay, well, let's just donate everything that we get, but not match it. So we don't match it anymore, but we do donate 100% of everything.
That's wonderful.
Sean, if you don't mind me asking, when it came to making your shooting gallery, how expensive was it with all the purchasing of the whatever sensors and everything?
Without the props.
Without props.
Yeah.
If you're talking about just the peripherals to like do it, and if you have a 3D printer already, let's assume that you have a 3D printer. The most expensive thing is that BB gun, and I think I spent because I wanted it to look and feel heavy, so I wanted to get a real BB gun. I could have used like a plastic toy, and we could have made it work the same way. But the BB gun was the most expensive thing, and I think it was like $199 or like $180. So it was like $200 for that, and then all the other stuff is like just super cheap, $2. Light sensors on Amazon, and you usually get like 10 of them in a pack. So,
I'm so doing it.
Yeah, so all in all, it was probably like $250.
Oh, yeah.
Robert would like to know, did you do prizes for the shooting gallery?
No, that's a good idea. We initially had a whole bunch of goals because we coded out the whole thing, so we could essentially, do whatever we wanted. We also had like custom VO for each thing that would like randomly choose. Like if you missed a target, we had a character that would like kind of mock you a little bit. And so we had a whole bunch of like interactive things that we recorded. But we at one point wanted to do like a game. So we were going to gamify it, but at a certain point you just realize like, let's just get it done. Because I think it took us probably from proof of concept, probably like 5 months to build that thing out.
Oh,
Wow.
shit.
Damn.
Yeah, maybe.
And that's not working on like that whole time, but I mean,
Yeah.
periodically. And you could just skip this loser's photo. This is hilarious. This is the very first sketch that I just had in my mind of the facade. And yeah, so you could see like how it actually came out in real life if you have a facade photo. But the facade came out great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's
This was
awesome.
used-
Sean
this
would
was-
like to know what your most favorite theme you've done for your home hunt.
Oh, this one for sure. Just because being in Colorado, I feel like we have so much like mining history here. And I grew up, born and raised here. So I grew up kind of going to mine shafts and like going up to the mountains and seeing them as you're going up to ski and stuff like that. So I've been obsessed with the Western era for a long time. So there's a lot of stuff that I just love about it too, like the smell. So I have a lot of scent in my haunt as well. So there's a dynamite room where we have like gunpowder smells. There's dirt smells like when you fall in the elevator and that sort of stuff. And yeah, this is just a layout, so you can see how small of a space it is. But if you watch our walkthrough on YouTube, there's about 6 different scenes in here, all in about.
I can't believe how much space you make it look like it has. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, when you're in there, it feels like it's like a cave. Yeah, it feels much, much bigger. Yeah, there's the facade.
Wow.
Yeah, so it came out pretty good. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about this. The wood was actually a score. This is actually like real 100-year-old wood that we found. So that was a sweet score because I didn't have to distress it at all. I just cut it and slapped it up with nails.
Nice.
Terrifying.
That hardly ever happens.
Do you have actors in your haunt, Sean?
Yes, I am an actor. So we have a person who cues them up into groups based on weight, actually, like eyeballed weight. We don't like scale people, but so we kind of either do like 2 to 3 at a time because the pneumatics of the elevator with me in there, it's usually like because it's such a tight space, we have to watch how it bows and stuff like that. So there's a few like unique things that we have to keep in mind. But as an actor, I bring people into the elevator and into the entrance here, and then take them into the elevator scene and ride that scene down with them with a whole kind of story plot, theatrical moment. And then I pass them through the walkthrough. And then inside the haunt, we can have 2 actors other than me in there. But usually it's better just to have one because the rest of the scenes are kind of driven by like animatronics that are also pretty much actors because they have full scenes as well.
Paco would like to know, do you use foam for detail for the rocks, etc.?
No, and this is our number one question. The rocks are actually rock panels, so they roll up. There might even be a photo in here if you want to look for a build photo, but you might see some rocks rolled up. But these are from a company called Universal Rocks. They make rock panels for like zoo enclosures and like reptile aquariums and stuff like that. So I reached out to them and got about 4 of these. They're like 7 foot by 14 feet. So I have 4 of these panels that just roll up, and they're indestructible, super hard, and they act and look and feel like real rock. You could drive a semi truck over these and they're not going to mess up.
You say Universal Rock? Universal
Rocks, yeah. And since then, yeah, if you go to their website, they actually, I think it was Alan Hopp had done a little thing on them on his YouTube channel, like right around the same time that I was like purchasing them too, or like maybe it was like before or after. But it was really interesting because they hit me up after I purchased them and like wanted to use all the photos from the haunted house on their website.
Oh,
So
nice.
one new thing that I like, because I'm in marketing, so I know kind of like the benefit that they get from that. It's like free advertising. So actually, this year you'll see a whole bunch of rocks like on the ground. I asked them to give me a whole bunch of new product for free. So this year I got a lot of free rock.
That's awesome.
Nice.
And so,
I guess I'm in the wrong field then.
yeah.
Right.
And this is a really cool photo, not necessarily because it's a good photo, but you can see the height. So one thing that our garage doesn't lack is height. So in the back area, once you pass where the actual garage comes up, it goes about 14 feet up. So it's a really tall garage, and we don't have anything up there. So this panel that's right behind this guy, instead of being this way, it's vertical. So you can actually look 14 feet up, and it's a rock wall the whole 14 feet. So it really helps sell the space that you're in a real gold mine at that point.
Beautiful.
This is an interesting question about the marketing of your haunt. Matthew Taylor would like to know, in 2021, his wife and he visited a display that had a QR code and that one would scan for an interactive experience. Have any of you ever considered doing that for your respective haunts? And again, that's for everybody. We'll start with you, Sean.
Okay, yeah. So I actually did an entire augmented reality poster in the queue line where actually I have it on our Instagram page, but if you look, it's like a wanted poster. But if you have an augmented reality app on your phone and you scan it, you can see the wanted picture animates into a corpse through your phone. So it's just a poster, but the augmented reality scans and recognizes that that's the face and then animates into a dead body. So I've done that before. And then QR codes I've just like linked off to like donate, to places, but that's it on my end.
Awesome.
How
about you, Forde?
Nope, I would have to have one of my kids explain to me even what a QR code is and stuff like that. So,
he's honest. I like it.
I've worked in advertising my whole entire life, and all that kind of technology completely escapes me. I'm a graphic designer, and anything that's technical, forget it.
I feel you, my friend. I do. How about you, Dylan?
Same here. I'm with Forde. I have no idea about QR codes. It looks interesting. I mean, some of the stuff you can put on it, but I just don't know how to create it.
I feel you.
I'm in that same boat, so I'll join. Well, I'll take this point as a segue. This is our Home Haunters episode. So
No, we're changing that.
Oh, we are? Oh, what the hell? It's 9:30. Everybody drunk. So
I can't keep drinking so much.
yeah. All right, Forde, bring it over to you now.
So, like I said, most of the stuff I did is a cemetery, and before there's other images in there where when I first started building these things, they were really lame looking and stuff. I just was gluing, foam together basically, and then later after I had them all up and everything like that, and was looking at them and realizing they weren't really realistic. Like about 4 years later, I went in and started to really carve them up and really kind of like looking at images from, like I said, Highgate in that St. Louis cemetery in New Orleans. Just started doing everything I could to kind of like add layers to it and stuff like that. So everything looked like it was really kind of coming apart, and so it looked like a very decrepit, basically maybe an abandoned cemetery and stuff. So that's just a picture in my garage, and you can see like kind of like stuck to it. There's a photo of an actual crypt that I was kind of looking at, and then what I'll do is then sort of sketch it out on a piece of paper so that I sort of have an idea of what it is that I'm putting together there in the final thing. But a lot of it is just sort of as you're carving things and stuff like that, is just sort of, kind of hit and miss as far as like how it comes together. And then, yeah, those are, I had some really lame columns when I first started out. They were literally made out of cardboard. And I had like dumpster dive for other pieces of foam at like construction sites. And columns I had to start with were, just literally coming apart because, like I said, they're cardboard. And so I found this company on Craigslist called, SRC Refrigeration, that makes these giant walk-in freezers for like party stores or grocery stores and stuff like that. And they were saying they had all this foam board that they wanted to get rid of so that they didn't have to pay to landfill it. And so it was like striking a gold mine.
Oh shit!
And
What was the name of that? What was the name of that?
SRC Refrigeration. They're over in Sterling Heights, Michigan. And so I would go over there like in July, and they would literally have stacks and piles of foam, all different sizes and stuff like that. And I would take out all the seats of my minivan and jam as much foam into it as I could, and then drag it all home, much to my wife's dismay, and then start carving things out. And like I said, the first few things I made were really lame, really poorly done. And then this is probably, I think I did these around 2017 when I was starting to really kind of get an idea for what I was doing and how to better do it. These are just sort of like the early stages of what is sort of put together and carved out, but and I'm sort of playing around with the painting.
Amazing.
Well, your early stages
Shit,
are
good, just like that.
light years above what I could do.
Yeah. Katrina would like to know, how heavy are those crypts once fully fabricated?
They're not heavy at all because it's the foam that I get for the most part starts out as 4 inches thick by 8 feet high by 4 feet wide, which is nice because it's a real sort of standard size. And one of those foam boards probably weighs, I'm guessing, at that size, maybe 15 pounds, if that. So, I mean, all this stuff is super lightweight and it's super dense foam. I mean, you can screw into it, you can cut it. I use primarily just box cutter and Dremels and regular hand saws just to cut everything out. So, and then that's the nice thing too is when it all comes apart, everything's basically in panels. And so when it all comes apart, it's easy to just, stack up in my garage or down in the basement. So it doesn't take up that much space.
Right. Hey, Tim Fowler wants to know, did you hard coat them when you got it all done?
No, see, I've watched all these different people do all that stuff. And to me, this foam, at least that I'm using, is, it's really durable. I mean, all I do is when I first start painting is I'll just paint everything like a flat gray. And then I'll go in with like a chip brush and hit all the crevices and stuff like that with black. And then after that, kind of hit it again with maybe a lighter gray. And then it's just spray bottles of watered down black latex paint and watered down white latex paint, which I've seen a lot of other haunters do, but I don't hard coat anything.
Chad would like to know, is it foam facade on a wooden frame or is it all made from foam?
It's all foam. And I just screw it all together with 6-inch screws. And like I said, that foam is so dense that it's, it goes in a lot easier than obviously a 2x4 or wood. But I mean, once you put a 6-inch screw into it and stuff like that, it's hard to pull it apart, which makes it really good. So when we have like windy days and stuff like that, which most of October is, I don't worried about it pulling apart and breaking.
All right, Forde, I'm going to ask you best Forde, or not Forde, Jesus Christ. I'm losing it. I'm drunk already as it is. No, the best foam.
It's a damn home haunt fucking drinking word.
Foam, God damn it. Foam. The best foam adhesive that you found.
I know I played around with like a lot of stuff, and really I think there's just Loctite makes a basically a foam adhesive. And that's what I've used. I've tried Gorilla Glue and a lot of other stuff. I've used just plain silicone. And usually that works pretty good for a little while, but just I use, like I said, the Loctite glue for foam board.
Awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. So what do you got going on here?
So yeah, I've got like in the graveyard a whole bunch of zombies, and this is one of the heads I got from a guy that was on Etsy. His name was Jake Anderson. I don't think his stuff's on there anymore, but like Unsub or whatever is on Etsy too. And there's like a lot of really good sort of one of a kind masks and so forth. And so Jake Anderson would make these blanks for me, or he called them blanks. It's just like real super thick latex. So it's not, I mean, that thing's just standing up. There's nothing inside of it. So, and then he would just send them to me and then I'd paint them. And then what you can see on the table there, I use basically acrylic paints and gouaches, water-based paints. And then I'll go in and hit everything with like black and then go around and where there's bruises and stuff like that, put yellow and purple, and then kind of come back in with reds and stuff like that for the wounds and then kind of paint it a blue green. But the nice thing about the washes, the watercolors, rather than trying to do it with like maybe spraying it on or whatever, is that it's real forgivable. If I don't like something, I just take a towel and wipe it off, and then just keep going back and forth 100 times until I get it the way I want it. And then for the wounds, I'll just go back in and spray the wounds area with like a high gloss spray paint that will make everything look kind of sticky and wet.
Absolutely.
So
and
yeah,
just to shout him out, yes, we love our Unsub brother too. He Unsub Masks might just be a Hunters Hangout sponsor.
Sponsor. Don't forget all your money.
So yeah, this is like what I was saying before. It's just like some of the earlier crypts that I built, where I was just gluing boards together and stuff like that. And the shapes. I mean, if you look at them, okay, I guess that's a mausoleum, but they didn't, like the tops of them especially, those were just, made up in my head and they weren't very realistic. So that was when I sort of first got into it, and I was first, dragging home 4 minivans fulls of the foam board.
Forde, how long would it take you to make one of these, I guess,
If I was just to make one from start to finish, I don't know, in hours, I would probably, just to cut it out and everything like that, would maybe take an afternoon and stuff if I had a drawing and plans of exactly what I want to do. Because that board is just, like I said, I use hand saws on it. And then to paint it's like the longest part of it, to go in and do the bricks and stuff like that. I just use acrylic paints, and I just use basic stuff like burnt sienna, burnt umber, ochre, orange, white, and black. And I just put it out on dabs of it out on a plastic dish, and then hit it with water, and then just kind of go working it back and forth and stuff, just to get so that the brick has a lot of dimension to it and it looks old. And then when I'm done, I'll like spray paint, or not spray paint, but use a spray gun with latex paint in it to like hit everything.
Scott would like to know, how tall are those crypts there?
Those ones are probably about like 9 feet to 10 feet high. And then I have a couple of other big ones. There's a big one in the center of the yard that's probably about 15 feet high. And then there's another one on the driveway that's probably about 12 feet high. So the nice thing is, like, the thing is right off the street, and because of the height of it, it completely like blocks out my house that's behind it and everything like that. So when you're driving by it, the way I box everything in with branches and trees and things like that, it's sort of like a little diorama and stuff. And then the mausoleums are all kind of pushed together and stuff, so that it just sort of makes one big giant facade of different mausoleums and so forth.
This was going to be my next question. How do you support them for the wind?
Yeah.
So what I'll do is, like, at the bases of them, there's holes in the base, and then I put in PVC pipe in, and knock it into the ground, and then put the base over the top of that. And then on the inside walls, I'll take strapping like 1x2 and drive that about a foot into the ground, then put screws into it that go, from the strapping into the foam. And so by the time it's all said and done, with all those things, with all the strapping in it that's knocked into the ground and stuff, those things don't go anywhere.
Sean would like to know what type of paint you use to paint these mausoleums, and how do you distress them?
I just use really cheap latex paint. I just, go to Home Depot or wherever and find the cheapest black paint that I can and white paint. I've also, because I've done so much, I also will buy those big giant gallon, or 5-gallon drums of white paint. And then, like I said, what I'll do is I'll go in and usually hit the whole thing with like a flat layer of gray just to coat everything. That's sort of like a medium to dark gray. And then go into all the crevices, paint those black and stuff, then come back and hit it again with sort of a lighter gray. And then once again, it's just taking spray bottles of black and white latex paint and spraying it on there, and until I get it to where I think it looks good. And you can see that picture. There's, one of the other reasons my wife hates my haunting is, the garage basically looks like that from July till, October 1st. It's got stuff laying all over the place. Why I'm, piecing and parting everything together. And
Tim Fowler's mad. He says that they don't sell that shit in SoCal. He's mad. Tia would like to know how long is the PVC, how tall into the PVC, and how much into the ground?
Well, like you can see by that's like one of the last facades I built recently. That's maybe about 2 years old. It's a center crypt. So that right there, those are 8 foot high. And then there's on top of that, there's like another 4 foot high pieces that go on top. And then you'll see in maybe some of the other pictures of the thing, there's like a part of it that extends out over the top of it. And so, like I said, the strapping that is on the back side of it, and it's just 1 by 2 pieces of wood that, like I said, I knock into the ground about 1 foot into the ground, and then screw the strapping wood into the back of the foam. And then I also there's trees behind there, and I use a bolt, put bolts into the foam, and then run a rope behind it. I have a video called Killington Lane Halloween Yard Haunt 2012 to 2019, which shows like a lot of this stuff that's on YouTube. If anybody wants to kind of get a better idea of what it looks like.
I think that we have that listed in the description of our posts today, guys. So you can hit everybody's links and go check all of that out. And Forde does have some excellent videos up over there as well. They all do, but have great links to go check out. And Trish would like to know, are any of these walkthrough mausoleums?
No, everything I have is in my front yard. I have like a maybe 3.5 foot high wrought iron fence, and my haunts primarily people just driving by. A lot of people will park though and get out and take pictures of it. But yeah, nobody. The only one that's walking around in there is usually me and stuff like that. So. It's I live on a cul-de-sac and stuff, so it's real easy for people to kind of drive in and then flip around and then come back out. And so most people will, see it coming in and see it coming out and stuff like that.
Bob would like to know any inspiration from K Studios with your crypts.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah.
Ken's the crypt mascot.
Yeah, that guy, like when I was looking at how to paint the crypts, how to do the bricks, how to make things look rusted. He's huge as far as like, his abilities and stuff like that are just over the top.
I know. I haven't seen anything from him lately in a minute.
Yeah, we haven't seen him. I wonder how he's doing. Yeah, Ken Thompson, we're talking about you, sir, if you're out there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And in the wide web.
Yeah, and then I see. Wait. I don't know who said this because it says Facebook user. StreamYard.com/Facebook. You can walk into your garage.
Well, when in the summertime, when all that stuff's going on, that garage is just jam packed full of different things that I'm working on. And then, but miraculously, like I said, my wife's a wonderful saint. But come once Halloween's over and stuff like that, everything goes away, and I can actually get 2 cars in the garage. I have shelves that are about 3 feet from the ceiling, and a lot of that stuff, like I said, is in panels. So once it comes unscrewed, I just stuff it up in those above those shelves, and then, like I said, I have a junk side of my basement, and the rest of it goes in maybe a quarter of it. So it's once it comes apart, it doesn't take up that much space.
Yep. Amazing.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Forde. All right, we'll come back to you here at the top of the hour. Dylan, we're going to bring it over to you now.
Dylan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So this one is inside one of our tents. So the way we set up, we have a kind of a hedged area before you get into a cemetery, and then you go in the greenhouse, and then you come into the first tent. And the first tent is a 20 by 20. It's basically kind of set up to be an inside of a house, and this is one of the hallways. And so these heads I got from eBay. There was a seller on there that is in Utah as well, and he makes these heads. He makes, I think there was about 6 different types, and they're really high quality latex. And he hasn't sold for the last 2 years on there, but these things were amazing, and they were really cheap. And so, I mean, very realistic. And then, that whole scene right there is, there's a mummy in there from Midnight Studios. It was kind of based, I was trying to follow The Haunting in Connecticut, kind of where all the bodies were in the wall. Didn't turn out like it, but that's kind of what I came up with, the amount of space I had.
If you need any real photos, I live in Connecticut, so I could have just, we're gone wherever. Just kidding.
Yeah. And everyone in the chat, Dylan, just so you know, is oohing and ahhing over those heads.
Yeah, those heads are amazing. When I posted some pictures of them, I had people reach out to me asking where I got them. And so I kind of directed them to the eBay site. And there was a couple people that snagged some a couple years ago. So this one, this was a fun one. I had a buddy that knew a guy that had a shop dealing in insulation. It's commercial insulation foam, so it's the real thick, probably about, I'd say, 12 inches thick, and it's a 4x4 block. So this is actually 4 of those blocks where the crypts are, and they're glued together with great stuff, and they've held up pretty good. I just, in the back of them, I carved out a spot to put a pole, and I just filled it with great stuff. It's held up with wind. Down here we get 60-mile-an-hour winds. It seems like our house is right in the middle of this funnel that comes down a canyon. And so they've held up pretty good. It's just those blocks with foam kind of detailing it and carved bricks.
Excellent.
The mannequin or the statue is actually an old spirit prop that I broke apart and reformatted.
I love the repurposing of old
Yeah.
props. Fantastic. Yes.
And so that is just covered in, the whole thing was sprayed in stucco, that cement mixture.
Awesome.
Lowe's here in Utah they had some on discount because they were getting rid of it. And so I snagged like shitloads of it.
Christopher would like to know about your lighting in this scene, and I agree because it's really great spotlighting happening there.
I can't remember where I got these lights, but they were on Amazon, and there's 6 of them on a line, and they're plug-ins, and you can face them however. They're kind of big spotlights, but not really like huge. They don't put off a lot of light, but they're they go one color. The whole strand goes one color. So there was those lights focused in that area, and then just a battery powered green light, and I think it was a red light, kind of focused in that area. So it came up pretty good. I wasn't intending to light it up that much, but it turned out pretty good.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I like this graveyard scene. Was really good.
Oh,
And of
yeah.
course, we got the Home Depot, 2 headstones there. Yeah, and so this one, so this is the hedge area when you first walk in. The actual wall is just 2x4s that are upright and secured, covered with plastic, and I bought a shitload of camo netting. It was like the bulk rolls. And so it made it look like a
Someone's
head.
going to ask where you found that. So let's find out where you got the big bulk rolls of camo first before we
Where's
move
my
on.
pen? Where's my pencil?
Yeah. So let's see, what was that place? It'll come to me. I just can't remember. Oh,
Okay.
Camo Nets USA.
Camo Nets USA.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and
Thank you.
if you're military or first responder, they give you a discount. So
There you go.
if you want to use the 10%. And so, yeah, it gave a really good effect at night as being a hedge. So I used shitloads of that to try to block it in a little bit. The house is just a 2 corner house, or a 2-panel house, just kind of a corner piece. Has a front to it, and that's just the side, and then the cemetery sign to when you walk into the cemetery. That's just foam blocks carved into stone. And so yeah, so this is the first tent. So it's 10 feet. The glass house is the greenhouse. That's where you first walk into. And it's just covered with a Delta canopy, fire retardant. And it's held up with our winds and everything, so it hasn't been damaged yet.
Dude, when do you start building?
Dude, I'm jealous of the yard.
Yeah.
I
Sean
know.
is-
What the fuck?
So,
It's all
yeah, so we take up. So we're on an acre. We take up probably a half acre with the
Holy
full
shit.
setup.
Okay.
And then
Super
Must be
jealous.
nice.
And the wife, and they don't care. You kill the grass.
yeah, we have it's dead grass anyway.
That's awesome. That even makes it more awesome.
I don't know how to do sprinklers, so I just kind of just let it water wherever. So, but
Yeah.
Katrina would like to know, how do you overcome the wind problem and such using tents?
so this last year was the highest wind that we've had, and it was like, I think it reached like 68. It was a night that we were supposed to open, and we had to cancel the night because I thought the thing was just going to blow away. But it held up. I mean, both tents, both setups held up pretty good. The only thing that blew down was this scarecrow area that we had, which was it was kind of a last minute hurry and get it up, so it wasn't really secured. Yeah, so that's one of the Midnight Studios Haunting in Connecticut prop that they have.
When do you start building? Chad would like to know.
So we start setting up the end of July. We start putting things out. Since me and my wife, we have full-time jobs, so it starts out to be the weekends to set up. So it takes quite a bit. So yeah, this is
Ooh, cool.
the first tent again. Come into the stairwell. The stairs, they're full on stairs. You can't. I mean, you can walk up them, but it goes up to nowhere.
How high
Well,
do those go?
to your death if you do, but it's usually blocked off. What's that? I'm sorry.
How high do those go up? And how do you mask the lighting so it looks like they don't end?
Yeah, so it goes. Let's see. The top is at the 10 or the 8-foot mark. And so, well,
That's impressive because it looks a lot taller than that. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 7 because there's some wainscoting that kind of goes up, which is the same. So, but the light, it's usually we just kind of keep it dark up there. More light at the end to the midsection, and then when you go under, it's more lit. So.
Tia would like to know, how long is your haunt open? See, and I'm curious about that too, seeing as how early you start. Yeah.
Yeah. So we open, let's see, we usually do it for 4 days. We try
Are those consecutive days, or do you do like the weekend before and then?
Yeah. So originally we did it to do Fridays and Saturdays. But with all of our help that we had, they were coming from Salt Lake, which is about 30, 35, 40 minutes away. And during rush hour, it was kind of harder for them to come on Fridays. And so this last time we just did Saturdays and then Halloween. And so we had to knock 1 day off because of that storm that came through.
Gotcha. And Chuck would like to know how you handle large crowds on a single night.
It's not that bad. We live on a dead end. And so I usually post, hey, please carpool, limited parking, don't block driveways, and so this last time we did it, there was tons of people that had just carloads of people. So I think they were looking at that, and knowing the area that they were coming in, there's really no parking. But as for the line, and I'm really bad at taking pictures, and my wife was too, to try to get how many people we had coming through. It wasn't that bad. I mean, we didn't have any problems. Our neighbors are pretty good about it as well. They usually kind of hang out in the front as well. 1 year we did have, I think it was about 3 years ago, we had, or 2 years ago, we had a lot of people bring garbage and stuff and just kind of throw it out on other neighbors' lawns. And so we put,
I'm sorry to hear that.
And that kind of helped. So, so this is the greenhouse. That prop was from someone in one of our local groups, Rocky Mountain Haunters, or Rocky Mountain Halloween now. They were selling that on there. And so I don't know who made that one. I can't remember what he said, but I just kind of stuck it up there as a last minute. And that's that same hallway with the mummy.
I have a question, Dylan. Do you do any lightning or anything through these windows from the exterior?
That was the plan to do, but once we did a run through, there was a really cool effect that I had a blue light back there, and somehow the effect made it look like, I don't know if I took a picture of it, but it made the windows look kind of cool, at least I thought. And also this last window that's coming up to the left was an actual broken out window where we had an actor and a sound box that made it sound like broken glass, and she came through the window. Mm-hmm. But off to her left, when you're walking into the greenhouse, that light made it look like she was like a ghost. And so it was kind of focused on her. And so it looked like, she was a ghost in the cemetery when we didn't plan for it. And so that set it up to be more things that we actually had. So we just kind of kept it. But yeah, that was the original plan, to try to do the lightning.
Yeah, that would have been cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long does it take you to distress the walls in your buildings? Sean would like to know.
So that first there, the first hand area was that probably, I'd say, to build it, probably 4 months total. And then like distressing, because I'm not really good at distressing. I mean, I've kind of come up a little bit from years past and looking at other people's details, and with help, reaching out on Haunters Hangout. A lot of people have offered advice. And so that, I mean, if you're really sitting down to do it, I'd say that probably took about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Wow.
And I'm being selfish here right now because I want to know too. Michelle would like to know, how are you making the windows? Plexi or plastic painter's tarp? How did that happen?
So some of it was plexiglass, and then we did, like, because it became so expensive, we just started to use the plastic painter's wrap, and just stapled to the back of those.
Excellent. Cool. All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Well, thank you, Dylan. All right, we're at the top of the hour. That's where I like to jump in and say, this is our Home Haunter episode. Drink, everybody. I'm just kidding. I don't know if that's our drinking word anymore.
I think if shifted. I don't know. I think did it go to crypt for a while there? I think we're just bouncing around to whatever the most used word is in the segment.
Drinking, yeah. I was going to change it from Home Haunter to Home Haunters. So, change it up,
all right.
but
see?
no.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, if you guys don't know, this is your chance to win some amazing prizes from our sponsors. All you have to do is ask a simple question to anybody on the panel, to our guests on the panel, and that enters you in for a chance to win a prize tonight.
Yep. Whether I get to your question or not, you're still entered. So. Yep.
So without further ado, we're going to bring it back to Sean. And Sean, we have some pictures to pick back up on.
Okay. Yeah, so this is in my basement. So I have 2 20-foot storage units, and then I also have my basement full of stuff. Usually the props that I actually care about. So most of the stuff that I invest in is actual, like, real antiques. So all of the crates that are in our haunt are actually real dynamite crates from gold mines. Those dynamite sticks are not real dynamite. Neither is the dynamite blaster, but everything else, like those crates and the lanterns and stuff like that, are things that I've gotten and collected from antique stores here in Colorado. So this is just kind of a photo, really random photo of an off-season shoot.
Super realistic, man. It looks awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, and I think that's like my biggest thing is, like, I personally like to play to the strengths of what's available. And here in Colorado, if you go into the antique stores, all of this crap is readily available all over the place. Like that lantern, that dynamite box, that like hook, and the rope is just from Home Depot. So stuff like that I don't care about. But that actual wheel over there, that steel wheel, is a real wagon wheel that I got from an antique store. So like my biggest thing is, I'm also just kind of a collector of just weird stuff like this too. It just so happens that it worked in the haunt as well. So this is before we put any mulch down. So we use mulch almost everywhere on the floor except for where you're actually walking, because we don't want anybody to slip. But if you look at the walkthrough videos and stuff like that, you'll see mulch all along the corners and then in full scenes and stuff like that. So this was probably just as I finished putting up the facade and putting some of this stuff in there.
Does the actor come through that hole in the box?
Nope, no actors there. That's
it looked like someone was going to be there.
No, and yeah, that was pre cobwebbing too. So usually I do cobwebbing as like the very last kind of like symbolic
Gotcha.
completed task.
I feel that.
So these,
I do want to remind us to get back to this question when we get to the elevator, Sean.
Okay.
There is going to be the question about what do you figure it costs you to build it. So let's keep that in mind for when we roll around to that, please.
Cool. Yeah, that's always a fun one.
Mhm.
Yeah, so this is just another. So like every once in a while I'll like move stuff around. So like sometimes this crypt guy is on the ground, and then the vulture is a pneumatic that from Beastcraft that pulls it. There's some meat that's on there, and I have these set up onto a clicker that I have, so that when people are walking out, I can activate these pneumatics from my pocket rather than like just doing it on a motion sensor or something like that. Number one, because I don't want to just blow through air every time someone walks through, and then number two, I also want people to think they're static because they're looking at them the whole time in the line. And then if they see them go off every 15 minutes or something like that, it's a little bit more exciting than every single time someone exits. So that was a strategy on this exit as far as triggers go. This is essentially just like a in situ sort of cave shot. It's essentially that same one, but actually with stage lighting.
Man, it's beautiful.
Thanks.
And what'd you use for, just out of curiosity, for lighting? LEDs?
I use LEDs on everything, even in all the lanterns. They're LED, and those are all flicker LEDs. And then throughout the whole haunt, I use Gantom color piano lights. I like them because I can program a sequence into the actual light without using any controllers or anything like that, and I just program them through an iPhone app. And they also have full RGB, and then I'm able to dim them as well. One thing you'll know with all my haunts is I'm very natural lighting specific, so I go for realism rather than just like color. So in a gold mine, all you're going to see is amber and flame colors. And then when you go to the graveyard, you'll notice there's a lot more kind of colors there because we're dealing with hues from the moon, the green of like kind of like a graveyard feel and stuff like that. So you'll see more color in the graveyard scenes. But everything as far as lighting that I do is hyper natural and realistic. This is a full animatronic 3-axis skull prop that I built. This is a dynamite scene. So this is one of the more interactive scenes. So this is triggered by a step pad as you walk in. This guy has full movement. We had a voice actor do an entire kind of 30-second scene where he kind of asks what you're doing in his cave. Very like Disney-esque, this one. And then he takes that plunger and then explodes the whole room. So this room initially is like amber colored. And then when he explodes the dynamite that he's sitting on, there are downward foggers in the ceiling that are DMX controlled that spray fog down on the people's heads. So it's very immersive, this room. And you can kind of see that in the walkthrough video if you ever want to look at that. But this is definitely a pretty cool scene.
Wow.
Hessian Manor would like to know, if you do go pro, do you plan on moving this haunt to the new location, or will you start from scratch?
Yeah, that's the plan. This maybe in the next year or so. So we might only have one more year in the garage, hopefully. But the each theme that we've done, I think we've invested into it enough to say that will be a portion of the bigger experience that we're talking about. So yeah, these will definitely be retrofitted to be a little bit bigger scale, but we'll for sure have this. We're obsessed with a few different themes as well, and we'll be weaving. It's more of a theater-based experience rather than just a standard walkthrough. So it's a lot more theater storyline driven than just walk through and get scared. So these will be interweaved into the story enough. And our previous lore in the other haunted house, which was a Victorian house, that house was actually the owner of the gold mine that we're walking in here. So they're kind of like following the same path. So yes. Yeah, and here's just some more photos of that scene. Lots of dynamite, lots of DMX lighting, and lots of fog blasters. Yeah, these are more just daytime shots of the facade. We could probably jump maybe to the elevator if people want to look at that.
There you go. So good. Such a cool idea. Incredible work. Everyone agrees. And the artistic scale, just mesmerizing.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm assuming this is the elevator, right?
Yeah. So when you walk in, the whole kind of storyline is, this gold mine has been closed for, decades upon decades. And we're just now, like, whoever owns the mine is starting to let people take tours to go through it. So kind of like you would do if you came to a real mine shaft in Colorado right now. There's actually a mine that we got inspiration for the elevator from called Molly Kathleen Mine. And it's like down near Colorado Springs. But you can actually take the original elevator down into the gold mine and then walk around. So I take them in. I'm the lead actor in this scene. I take them in here, and then I press the button, and this whole thing is built on a pneumatic system where we've done all of the 3D animation for the screen. And then there's speakers in the vents up and top. So we have spatial audio. There's a front and back channel. And then inside of those vents, there's also LED strips so that we can break the illusion of the screen. So when the light passes the screen as you're going down, you can actually see the light pass through the vents as well. So we're kind of breaking that illusion of the general concept of the screen.
Mike would like to know what DMX controller you're using.
We use the Flex Maxes on almost everything. And then we use just general Peekaboo MP3s for like single props and stuff like that. Some of the pneumatics also, if it's just a single trigger, we'll use just like the Pico one, the Pico Volt or whatever, just the small. Right. But for like the big scenes like the skeleton in the elevator, those are all Flex Max controllers. This is just you could see how we got those 100-year-old boards and how big they were. This is just my buddy Joe helping me cut them down to size.
Trina would like to know about sound effects in your haunt.
Oh yes, so I think sound, scent, and lighting are the three key elements to making a good haunt. Lighting for me is very, very important. It's one of the last things I do because I want to spend the most time on it. Audio is super important. I used to do music at one moment in my life, so I'm pretty comfortable with like mixing and mastering and all that sort of stuff. Generally, and then since I'm in like advertising and marketing world too, I deal with a lot of people who make sound effects and Foley artists and stuff like that. So I usually reach out to friends to help me with very custom sound effects. Like we did all Foley audio for the elevator scene at PlayStation Studios, which was actually really cool. The lead Foley artist helped me out with all the sound for the elevator.
That's amazing. Luck. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So there's the final elevator before we put it on the motion platform. And yeah, it's just all made out of wood. The door rollers were all just from Amazon, and then those doors are just like cheap doors from Home Depot, and then just all those lights are from Home Depot as well. And one of the best things about it, I don't know if I have a photo in here of it, is the detail inside of the lights. So one thing that I do is I use wood glue on all my lighting, and I just dab wood glue in there, and it makes it this really nice old looking feel. And the dirtier the better. And then once the wood glue is about to set, I just sprinkle dirt inside of it and then let the dirt just sit in there. And then
I love the real thing.
Yeah, do the wood glue again. And it looks absolutely ridiculous.
What do you paint it with?
I use a product from this company called Metal Masters. And it's actually real rust paint. So it's iron paint. And then you spray rust activator on it, and it's real rust, and then you seal that in with like a clear coat matte finish.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so this is actually real rust, and I use while I'm painting the iron paint on, and you could see like I have a mine cart that I built out of wood too. You can kind of see some details of that, but usually when I use that iron paint, it's like gray, but I'll throw sawdust that I have laying around on it, and it looks really like it's like bubbling metal, like it's rusting. So the sawdust really helps with the dimensionality, especially in the elevator, because there's so much texture that I tried to get in there that just makes it look like that thing's been sitting in, the musty old mine shaft for 100 years. Yeah, and this is just
Please
like...
Pardon the interruption real quick, Sean. NC Taylor, quick shout out to Sean. Visited Utah in 2020 to check out home haunts in the area. Really cool of him to take the time to do, especially considering how amazing Wicker Manor is. He could just rest on his laurels. And I agree with you, NC, because he has come to visit my haunt as well. So pretty cool that he comes to visit all of us. I agree.
Oh, thank you. And I probably remember your haunt because it was me and my family, and I think our kids were like 5 and 7 at the time. So we had a good time. And we actually have been planning to come back out to Utah to do that again. So I'll let you guys know.
And yes, we would like to give a shout out to our sponsors at 916 Productions and Fear Finish as well, because they're amazing with their rust effects as well. So we would like to give them a shout out as well. So thank you for that, for reminding me to do that.
Yeah, and I've talked to those guys at Transworld too. Their stuff looks really, really amazing. So keep up the good work, guys.
And Shane and Ryan are unmatched in terms of customer service for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, now you can start to see how small it actually is.
I know.
Which is so crazy because it really, you fake it so well. It looks enormous.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cemetery, because there's also like you exit the mine shaft and there's a whole cemetery you walk through. And so, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the shape of it's really organic. It's not, like flat walls and everything. I was looking at your schematic and stuff like that, and I was like thinking, it looks like bowels, and then it's like, the inside of the mine shaft like that. I mean, it's just
not square.
It's so cool the way it just wraps and twists around.
Yeah, and this is an old photo from the Victorian attic. So you could see,
yes.
This was year 1, actually. Oh, and this is also year 1. Yep. So these are all...
I think we're getting into year 1, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is crazy.
I know I have some videos at the end. I wasn't sure what, but I was trying to get to those just to, Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so this is the Victorian. This is so funny to see. I haven't seen this
Memory lane.
Yeah. But you can see it's pretty cool to see the actual difference. So the rock walls, like you were saying, Forde, I designed it so that it's more like rounded and like, angled. So like it looks like there's caverns and you can almost kind of like use your brain to fill in some of the space so that it feels bigger. This is all... Yeah, and all this stuff just sits in storage. I don't even use it. It's just sitting there.
Wow.
Which will be great for when you have your pro hunt and it's all ready to go.
Already.
I believe I remember hearing you once say that you view this very much as an investment because that was your plan to build on it and to have this ready for when it was time to move.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things is the money component for home haunters is always such an interesting topic because a lot of people have asked me, all the stuff is like super expensive and you spend a lot of time. Like, why do you do this? And I think it is ultimately, even from day one, it was kind of like, hey, if we're going to do it, let's do it. And then grow it into something bigger later. So that's why we have 2 storage units full of wall panels, Eventually, it will all go to something bigger.
Yep. Scott would like to know how many visitors you get each year.
That's a great question. I think on an average night, I think we kind of averaged out to like 250 people per night, and we're usually open for the whole month of October. So,
what video was this? Was this in the?
This is Yeah, this is the elevator video. You can't hear the audio, and that's probably a good thing because that would cover up what we're talking about. But this is the 3D that we made custom for our elevator this year. So yeah, as you go down, it's all synced to the airbag system, the lighting, and all sorts of stuff. Oh yeah, and this is also showing the live Foley audio, so you can actually view this video on our YouTube page if you want.
Excellent.
Wow. I think we had one more. Let's see. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then this was actually year 1 of Skeleton, but you can kind of see some of his movement. And then if you notice, the DMX lighting in the background is white, and then as he kind of tells you to leave, his eyes turn red, and then the whole place turns red while fog sprays down on your head. So, yeah, pretty fun scene for sure.
Amazing.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. And Keith agrees some of our props are definitely investment pieces. And Therese is like, exactly, go all in. Yep. Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Sean. I appreciate you sharing all this with us. That was awesome.
Yeah,
And
no
keep
problem.
up the good work, man. I wish you the best coming up this year or next year or even just any year. So
No, it makes the rest of
Yeah.
I gotta step it up now, man. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you guys. You guys are more inspirational than I am.
Watching all you guys' stuff, I'm like, damn, I need to step it up some more.
Awesome. Thank you, Sean. All right. Let's head on over to Forde.
Forde.
So Forde, what
So-
we got here?
So yeah, I mean, this is a detailed shot of the bricks and stuff like that. I've seen a lot of different ways of people that would cut it. They use Dremels and stuff like that. What I actually do is like take a miter saw and I'll just cut into the top part and bottom part, and then just twist and flick out the center part of the mortar. And it, to me, I can do that really fast and cut really quick. And you can see too, I'll go in with a lot of the bricks and stuff like that and shave them down so that they're at different levels and so forth, so that all my stuff, I try and make it look creepy, make it look gnarly, make it look like it's all, it's 100 years old and been out in the weather and stuff. And like I said, that's just kind of a detail shot of that. And that's just sort of like the finished thing, with putting 3 panels together. You sort of have to be careful of how you sort of make sure that the mortar joints from like the bricks and stuff line up and everything. And the nice thing too is once you paint them and stuff, a lot of that, the joints kind of disappear and stuff, especially at night. You don't see any of that, so it looks like sort of a flat facade.
Now, Forde, with that being said, do you find an issue building it on a level garage floor and then bringing it out to wherever it's being displayed, that you
Great question.
My front yard is sort of like is like on a slight hill going down to the street, and then it's also uneven. That left side of it's a lot higher than the right side, so everything is kind of crooked and on an angle. But to me, it just kind of lends to it. It looks like almost everything's sort of like you would see in a real old building or a mausoleum, where it's sort of almost sinking into the into the ground and stuff because it's been there so long. So I just work around it.
I also have another question: is when you make your sketches, do you find yourself, freestyling away from that a little bit to, adapt your design on the fly?
Yeah, I mean, it's like when you hear sculptors say, I have a piece of stone and I kind of, the stone talks to me. It's sort of the same thing. It's kind of corny, but same thing with the foam and stuff like that. When you're putting it together, if pieces aren't long enough or whatever, I'll just decide, well, that's where, the piece broke off and I don't really care about it and stuff. So yeah, and this is like a nighttime shot. Like I said, the haunt's on a cul-de-sac street. There's like only 11 houses on it. And then the front of my house is maybe from one end to the others. It's only about 100 feet. It's not really all that big. But on either end of it, what I do is I kind of block it in with, I found like to deadscape to use like maple branches I cut off trees, because the maple leaves, once you cut those branches, they will last forever. And so on either end of it, when you're driving up, you're not like looking further down the street and seeing like the neighbor's house and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a diorama. And like I said, my house is directly behind that. And, you know, you don't really even see it. I've got some trees there that kind of block it out and everything. And then with the lighting, this was a year before. Now, what I've just done with the lighting is everything is just sort of a flat green. And I try and use the old bulbs, not the new brighter ones that are real intense, and try and tone them down. And then the other thing I try and do too with the lights is put a lot of vegetation around them and then block them off with tinfoil and then spray the paint to tinfoil black so that you can't really see the lights. I mean, there's a light source, but you're not like looking and seeing bright spotlights. And as you can see, I'm only using maybe like 5 spotlights, 6 spotlights for like the whole thing. I don't get into lots of colors and things like that. Kind of like Sean was saying, I'm trying to, I wouldn't imagine that if you walked into a cemetery at night that it would have a whole bunch of colors going on it. And so, yeah, this is like this year when I just went all green. And to me, it just kind of works a little bit better. It makes it a little bit creepier. And there's so much stuff going on in there. I don't really worry about, highlighting things because people drive by. I'll have like the same people literally drive by every night. And they're like, I saw something different almost every time. And that's kind of the thing, it's because it does have a ton of detail on it. And then that's the center crypt that you were seeing earlier that was laying on the garage floor. And then it's kind of hard to tell from that photo, but up on top of it, that's another, 4 foot high. And then that sticks out 4 feet over the front of it. And then it's got pillars there that it rests on to give it, a lot more dimension.
Fucking awesome, dude.
What is the ultimate foreign tool to use when carving foam?
I'm pretty simple. Like I said, I just use primarily a handsaw just to cut all the foam. And I don't worry too much about if it's uneven or if the edges are, I'll lay a line down and just take a saw to it. And if it's uneven or whatever, I just go with it. It's sort of like, I always look at like Tim Burton's stuff and how it's always sort of looking like it's just about to fall over. And to me, it's like I just try and move quick and fast and not worry about stuff. If I make a mistake, I just cover it up.
Yeah, Ryan would like to know again real quick if you could just repeat how tall the facade is again and how many sections are there in this piece.
So yeah, that piece right there has 3 4x8 sections. It's 8 foot high from sort of like just above the windows down, and then it has 2 side pieces that are those sort of half moon shapes, and those are each probably about 3.5, and then the top part of that is probably about 4 feet high too. So all told, it's probably about 12 or 15 feet high. There's a cross that sits up on top of all that too.
Now, Forde, in a piece this big, are you running? I know we talked about before. Are you running though the PVC higher into this to support the wind? Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a PVC pipe that's goes into the ground and goes all the way up into the base of that. And like I said, I run that PVC pipe probably a foot or 2 into the ground, and and then like I said, the backside of that thing's all strapped in, and all that's all. Like I said, I use like 6-inch screws and into that foam, and there's probably, I don't know, in that one piece there's probably 300 screws, so it ain't going anywhere.
Wow. And then I'll ask this question, it's for anybody on the panel, but with all the detail you add to this, do you find colors that tend to wash out that detail versus make it pop that you try to avoid?
With my stuff, everything is just sort of like, looks like, when you look at the daytime pictures, it's just, lots of grays and blacks really. And then when you light it, it just kind of gives that. And then that's one of my zombies. One of the things I do with them is all the eyes. I went to Mackenzie Taxidermy and bought these coyote eyes that are real taxidermy, so they're glass and stuff.
Cool.
And so that adds to me like a lot more realism to everything. And so, like almost all the zombies I have, I hack the eyes out of them, and then put these Mackenzie, taxidermy eyes into them.
That's a great idea.
Just so you are aware, Forde, Ryan says, time to quit your day job and come work for us at Woods of Terror.
So that's, once again, sort of a shot sort of from one of the corners and stuff like that, looking back across it. You can see it's like I've got about a 3.5 foot wrought iron fence that I bought on Craigslist. Some guy had it for his dog in his backyard, and he was selling it for $250, which was like, if I tried to buy all that, I don't know, it would cost a couple $1,000. But the other thing I try and do too is put in a ton of dead stuff in there. So I mean, I'm collecting tree branches all year round, and I have luckily some railroad tracks that are near me, and I can literally have a pile of stuff that are back there. And then come fall, my neighbors watch me drag up all these dead tree branches and so forth up the street and stuff like that, and then stick it all in there. And the other thing it helps too is it sort of keeps people from wanting to crawl in there, because the whole front of it's just covered with trees. I mean, they don't have leaves on it, so you can see through everything. But and then there you can see too, it's got sort of the green lights, and then the only other kind of extra lighting I put in there is some candles, and then I have some small flashlights and some floral lights, some real small ones, just to light up like some of the zombies and stuff like that are in the crypts that are a little harder to see.
Keith would like to know how many fog machines you run.
I only have one, and it's right behind that center crypt there. And the one thing I do is that it comes out and then it sort of tees out along the ground, and then just drill a whole bunch of holes in it. And then the other thing I do is I put a small fan that I guess was for a computer inside of it that runs just off of a battery, so it blows the fog out all over the place pretty good. And then this is just a day shot of the front of the thing, and you can see sort of as the fall goes on, the leaves fall in there. I go and I cut up a bunch of flowers and things like that, and jam them in front of the tombstones and so forth, just to kind of once again kind of add to the realism, I guess, as much as I can.
Dude, it looks better in the daytime, man. It's awesome. The detail is crazy.
Well, that's the fun thing for people is that when a lot of people drive by during the day and stuff like that, especially like right after school, I get the usual ton of cars coming by with all the moms with all the school kids. And then at night, once I light it up and everything like that, it takes on a totally different vibe. But what's kind of nice about it is whether you see it in the day like this or whether you see it at night,
different.
There's something to see. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Scott would like to know, are there no street lights nearby that compete with your display? Okay.
No, thank goodness. I know a lot of people that's like, they want to take the gun and shoot them out and stuff like that. Like I said, I live on a quiet cul-de-sac, so there's no street lights or anything going on. It's nice and dark.
Yeah.
I had this feeling like somebody's watching me, and then I looked over here and saw her. Those eyes, man, those eyes.
Very good eyes. I agree.
So yeah, I mean, earlier on there was a picture of the the pillars and stuff like that were sitting on the driveway that were pink, and so that's kind of a shot of sort of the finished product and stuff. And I looked at a lot of pictures, and one of the things I noticed, like with bricks, especially those old cemeteries that are falling apart, where the stucco or cement that covers those mausoleums or walls, it just over the time it just drips and runs and stuff almost, and creates almost a coating and stuff. So that was kind of what I was trying to do with that. And then like all the bricks on top of that, those are like, I cut those out so they're all actual size, and then just jam foam in between it. And then, like I said, use the Loctite and glue it all together. And they're all kind of uneven and everything like that. But to me, that kind of just adds to the creepiness of it. And then you can kind of see there's like a little lantern up there on top. That thing's actually made out of foam too, and a flower pot, and a flicker light inside of it. So just, I mean, it's just, you can, like I said, the top of that's a flower pot turned over with a little piece of foam on top of it. And then that's just cut out foam. And then I glued some screws and bolts to it and stuff. And, it just sort of sits there and flickers like an old gas lit
Yeah, and
lamp.
I find that's one of
That's
the
awesome.
greatest things you can do as a home haunter is look at what you've got going on around you and how you can repurpose it, and what would that look like with paint. See the shapes and work them into your own haunt, right?
Yeah. And then this is just like, the front of one of the big crypts that's on the driveway. This crypt's probably about 12 feet high. And then, all that is I think great foam with a bunch of different skulls, jammed into it. And then, just once again, kind of going back and forth, and you can kind of see the paint where it's kind of, dripping down and things like that. And then just sort of, creating a lot of layers. I'm lucky in that I have, where I work is a small town called Clarkston, and they have a graveyard in there that's from like the 1800s. And I take lots of pictures of like the buildings and the tombstones in there, so I can have ideas to paint. And then that's the guy that was sitting on the kitchen table earlier that I hadn't painted yet.
Yep.
So that's him with his face painted, and then also he's got the one taxidermy eye in there too. And then with the clothes and stuff, I just go to Salvation Army, buy clothes, and then what I do is take a tree saw to it, and the tree saw has big giant blades on it, and just hack up the clothing and then stain it and stuff like that with all sorts of I smoke cigars, so I take a lot of tobacco and that juice and crap and just spray it, and it looks god awful. So
Sean would like to know, how many people help you set this up, or is this a solo setup?
this is just me. So yeah, I have 3 children. They probably know better than I'd probably make them miserable the whole time, telling them they're not doing it right. My wife's been around me long enough too that she'd probably be like, yeah, I'm not dealing with this. They're all very kind though. When I start to get it down, they'll all come out and help me put it away. But I think that's just because they're tired of looking at it. So,
Very
but
good.
it does help me out.
Right.
Usually everybody runs away when it's time to break stuff down. So I'm glad to hear that your family's willing to help you do that.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a nighttime shot. You can see with a little bit of the fog kind of rising up there and stuff like that. And then like the tombstones and stuff, I always try and have a little fun with that. Like Emma Patoma. Patoma is a Greek word for corpse. So Emma, and then a lot of the names and stuff that are on things are from Shakespeare, like Desdemona and so forth. And Dunstan Heathcliff is a witch in Shakespeare, I guess. Well, yeah, that's just the daytime shot, sort of from the other end, looking back down the other way. You can see like my house there, and I have never told anybody this, but I purposely painted it that real dark gray so that at night you didn't see it. It was beige before, and and my neighbors were like, "Oh, that's a bold color," and it's like, yeah, oh well, it's just. But
gotta match your cemetery.
Absolutely.
You can see there, like that, on the ground,
awful.
just tons of leaves and stuff like that. Like right there's actually the driveway. There's a circle driveway that runs around the front, and to kind of get rid of that driveway, I just pour all those leaves on top of it so that it pretty much disappears.
Nice.
So
That detail is amazing.
I love it.
Dale would like to know, how do you handle temperature and weather and elements and all of that?
I mean, luckily in Michigan, I mean, it has snowed a couple of times on Halloween, which usually, just makes it miserable. But I mean, I've seen other haunters where they've had, 5-10 inches of snowfall on their stuff. Thank goodness I've never had that to, deal with. As far as like raining, stuff like that, all my zombies and stuff like that are waterproofed enough that if it's just like a steady drizzle, I can run them. I don't know, like that. If it's a torrential rain and stuff like that, then those are the only nights where I shut stuff down, just because it's, obviously I've got a million electric cords running around it down there. And, I don't want to, if all that stuff shorts out, it would be, it wouldn't be a good thing, obviously. So,
hey, Michigan, you have no idea what it's going to be. It could be like 15 below, It could be 70 degrees in wintertime.
Mhm.
Rain and snow in the same day. It'd be like rain and snow and be like 70 the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dylan, Sean, and I can all feel you guys on that one for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, Forde. I appreciate you, man, sharing all this, and good luck this year with
Thank you.
all your plans, man.
Thanks.
All right, let's bring it on over now to Dylan.
Dylan.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So this is a morgue that I built.
Awesome.
So those feet are from Ghost Ride. It's just a stuffed body underneath there. I figured, the setting I have on my camera, it's like an Adobe photo thing that's free. If you alter the picture, it looks much better. So, a lot of my photos are really kind of altered to make it look more creepy.
You've jazzed him up. Yeah, we get that.
Yeah.
We all
So
do. Yeah.
in your half-acre haunt that you have, how many different scenes do you try to incorporate into it?
So right now there's let's see, 1, 2, 3, 7, about 7 scenes.
Nice. Dude, I'm so jealous. Damn.
So the other portion that's only 8 feet under a 20 by 40 tent, but it's built as a 20 by 30 tent, and each section is under the tents 900 and the one is like 998 square feet, just under that 1,000. So
you just build the walls and take the top part of the tents and lay it right on top?
Yeah, since I couldn't find any poles that were that tall, we just made it to where it kind of sat up on top.
Screwed it to it.
Like I said, I mean, it held up pretty good. I mean, the wind comes right at that apex there, and I thought for sure that thing was going to bend, but it didn't. So, this is the last part of the area. It's just a kind of a scarecrow area, pumpkins, a lot of lit pumpkins, barn facade. A local guy here, a friend that built that years ago. He ended up selling that, and I picked it up from him.
Well, that's great. Jason would like to know about how long does it all take to set up? And I know you might have answered this earlier.
Yeah, it was late July. Every weekend, we'd have a couple of us. It'd be me, my wife, and then a couple other people that help kind of set up and get everything out. This was a scene from years ago. We didn't have this in the last 2 years. I think this was 2016. Just a sewing room.
I love the lathe look that you did on that. Tell me all about it. How'd you get that?
Yeah, so that's just that's all just plywood that I just cut into strips.
Cut into strips.
Yeah,
okay.
And then just put plaster on each of them.
Okay, like a actual plaster. Or did you use a joint compound?
Yeah, it was just the joint compound.
Okay,
like a real thin layer.
That's
It wasn't really meant to be outside, but it kind of was out there. But
I think Sean was just going to say it, but that must have taken a lot of time.
Yeah, Sean did say it.
I find myself doing a lot of things twice, and taking longer than it should after seeing some things that people can complete in like hours. It takes me like a month. But so that scene we don't have anymore. The last when we had a previous one in 2016, we sold that one to a local farm and they picked up everything. So everything was rebuilt from 16 on. So yeah, this is our house. This is the house we were looking for to kind of fit our theme. Just because it looks like an old, I mean, it's kind of a newer house, but it looks kind of Victorian dollhouse, dollhouse.
That's a true haunter, everybody. When you're
Mhm.
looking at the
For a
house
house
and thinking
that
about
looks
your
like a
haunt.
haunted house.
Yeah, we had
that one. I was like, yeah. And so, but
we had one haunter paint their house a certain color, and we had one haunter buy a house because it looked like a Victorian.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And here every year I'm working so hard to cover my house and hide it completely.
yeah, we light this thing up to go with the theme. Instead of building a facade, this is our facade.
Nice.
And so this is our hearse. We picked this up in 2014, I think. It was actually in a movie with one of the Belushi brothers, the one that wasn't so famous. I think it was an HBO series. It was like called Real Sex or something. And it wasn't like anything to deal with porn or anything.
Keith wants to know, is that a 64 Caddy?
It is a 66.
There you go. 66 Caddy.
And it was converted into a limo. So it's a limo in the back, has a sunroof, sound system. We have that thing going, playing
so
music.
Assume that means you do drive the hearse.
Yeah, it still drives. It's still a beast. It still stinks. Yeah, so this is kind of the hallway that leads up to the morgue. So this is the second tent. This is just kind of right after I built it. I didn't really have everything set up in it. I just kind of threw that stuff in there. But that all the walls are routed bricks out of wood. And so that is covered in the stucco as well. And so that's held up pretty good outside, although it's been under a tent. And so that was really time consuming. There was a lot of dust or sawdust. My garage is still filled with it from that. But I like to do, I used to like doing stuff in foam, certain things, but I think I like to do the routing out of the wood. With the stucco, if you're doing like bricks and stuff. So this is the funeral area. That's just all. It wasn't very detailed. That was kind of a running out of time project.
You call that not very detailed?
Yeah, I was going to say not very detailed.
I wanted to put more detail in it, but I was going to try to put, the busted out walls and the slats and stuff, but I didn't get around to that.
Man, give yourself some more credit. All this shit.
Yeah, for sure.
I have a question, Dylan, about dust, because I feel like this scene really feels dusty. Is that just natural dust, like on that?
So all of that. So what I did was I sprayed that spray paint. That's the chalk.
Oh,
The
chalk paint.
stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and I kind of
Chalkboard paint.
yeah, and it just kind of stuck that in the air and just let it fall wherever, and it kind of hit the seats and everything.
Cool.
In the coffin.
Real casket.
Real casket, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was actually out of a funeral home. And then so our house, so we put the sign up, which is pretty funny because I tried to do a backstory at one time. And I did it on Facebook, and I did an advertisement for it, and about it being a funeral home and all this stuff. And once I hit that, to go live on it, we had all these people calling us or messaging us. I want to do a ghost tour. I want to sleep overnight. Thinking it was a real funeral home.
That's funny.
And so when we had people come through on the haunted house, my wife would do the line and stuff, and a lot of people would say, "Well, was this really a funeral home?" And so, she got tired of saying, "No, it wasn't." So she's like, "Oh yeah, it was." But, this is the greenhouse. That was one of the walls. That's also routed brick. The fountain I made out of. So the bottom half is a planter. This is all garage sale stuff. A planter, a kiddie pool, a lamp, and a bird bath top, and a broken angel from a discount store. The whole
Nice.
thing, like $20. So that turned out really good. And then the morgue doors, kind of the same as a lot of people make, with the tile and the opening doors and stuff. So
Yeah. I believe it may have been Katrina that asked it earlier. Forgive me, I don't remember who it was at this point. Real morgue tables, or how did you do those?
yeah, so those are just wood that are framed with 2x3s, and the sinks are just something you find on a marketplace or your local classifieds or garage sales.
Clever.
And then just spray painted silver, and keep sanding them down, and then spray paint, and then I use a lot of oil stain to make the rust on them, as well as the morgue doors, and the doors to the morgue is all stain as well.
Incredible.
It is nice, man.
And then the scarecrows.
I love those
mannequins and wrapped in burlap, and tried to make a face mask. I'm not very good at making face masks, and I always see these people making these nice burlap masks and stuff, and I want to take the time to do it, but I just don't have patience to do all this.
It's like paper mache, man.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah.
Looks good when it's done.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we got a video. All right.
Yeah, it's not very well edited. This was just kind of at the end of the night. My wife walked through. She liked all the Home Depot stuff. I didn't really like it. They get the bad impression. They're like, "Oh, this is not scary." It's got Home Depot stuff. We've seen this in the store, and then the kids get in there and they go running out.
It's a good fake out then. I like it.
So you got the house you wanted and the yard you wanted. Yeah. I'm jealous now.
And he's got the wife that'll do a walkthrough video too. That's always a plus.
Yeah. So this is the hedge area, which it turned out amazing. I mean, it's like
really good
burlap. Yeah. I mean, it totally looks like a hedge. So that El Matador was a restaurant we had up here in northern Utah that closed down suddenly, and so we made a grave, and a lot of people got that, and they would bring like chips and salsa and put on the grave.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's a good snack. I'd eat that shit.
This is big.
Super great. It's really cool to see the walkthrough happen, so that it gives us some spatial awareness of what was going on from the photos. I love it.
Yeah, and we do a lot of like Sean was saying, like sounds and stuff, like the atmosphere, and a lot of we did a lot of jump scares. I know a lot of people don't like those. It's just because we had younger actors that we didn't want them to get, hit or anything. So we just wanted them to go in and come back out.
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely, for sure. Get in, get out, and who doesn't love a good jump scare, because you're going to get the screams.
Yeah,
and that's part of the fun.
Yeah, and they also had triggers with them that set off sounds and screams or something. So
Well, you want to get them all ready for like traveling actors and stuff like that. You got to get that punch in the face, let them know what it feels like, and then they know what it feels like next time.
yeah.
It's a learning experience. Come on. Quick jab.
Now, how often do you end up changing a scene?
So this has all been the same. This area right here is new. This was built last year.
That's awesome.
Super amazing. Yep, I agree with you, Brianna. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And we do use security cameras. We have a lot of cameras in there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find people bunching up? I mean, I know this is pretty typical in the haunt industry, but in your home haunt, do you try to space people out pretty well, or do they always get bunched up no matter what you do?
Oh, yeah, they're separated pretty good. It's probably, I don't know, close to a minute before they're let in.
So you've got pretty good flow control.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And we have someone sitting by the cameras too, and if someone's, because a lot of people like to go through and they look at everything, so they're taking forever.
It's like a haunter.
Yeah, that's the haunter going through a haunt. We take too long.
And they'll just say, hey, hold on the line for a minute, and they're really good at it.
Mm-hmm. Brianna would like to know how many people you typically get in a night.
So let's see, our total count for the 4 nights we were open, I think we had 2,200. And so it averaged to be like 600 less a night.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's good numbers.
And then, was this your ending scene that you were saying before?
Yeah. This is the one that blew down during the storm, so I had to keep redoing it. It wasn't really secured that much. We tried to get everything down before the first snowfall, and that barn is still up. And so I just stuck some storage in it. But that's held up pretty good.
Awesome.
And that's just pallets that are in boxes with burlap on them. We have shirts and sweaters that we sell.
Very cool.
Oh, that's great.
Awesome.
Look at all that land.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got real
driveway. I can do driveway alone.
Driveway alone. I know.
And this, I should have done the whole video on this. She does a whole thing, and when she's done, the window drops and she comes reaching out.
Oh, nice. Oh, so they aren't expecting that. That's great. Yeah.
That's cool. Awesome. Well, thank you, Dylan. I appreciate that, and I wish you the best this upcoming season as well, man.
You guys did a great job, man. Everything was
Thank you to all of you. Well done. Thank you.
Now the rest of us got to step it up.
I know.
Damn.
Awesome. Well, thank you, guys. It's been fun. Can't believe it's already 11 o'clock. Holy cow. Where'd time go? But
Yeah.
we got some amazing prizes to give out tonight. So I'm going to pass it over to Pandora.
We
Figure
do.
out.
Thank you to everyone that joined us tonight. Thank you to our members. Thank you to all of you who really were engaging in the chat, and we really appreciate that so much. And it was speeding on by tonight, so thank you for you very, very much. And thank you to our guests, of course. And thank you so much to our sponsors for providing all these fantastic prizes for us tonight. Just a quick reminder to all of you, if you do hear your name and you have won a prize, please make sure that you contact me via Messenger no later than Sunday night. And I will get back to all of you come Monday morning. If I do not hear from you by Sunday night, we roll the prizes on to the next shows or another show down the road. So don't miss out on that. Make sure you contact me by Sunday night, no later than.
And real quick,
Right. And with no further ado, what's that, Phil?
Said real quick before you get into the whole who won, I'm going to steal a spotlight real quick. If you guys did win a prize, if you guys don't mind taking pictures, sharing it in the Hunters Hangout feed, give our sponsors a shout out for actually, sending you guys those prizes. We really would appreciate it. Our sponsors would appreciate it. And it just shows what you guys could make with those prizes that you've won. So we really would appreciate it if you guys share anything that you've won. It'd be awesome. So without further ado, Pandora, your turn.
Pandora.
All right. Yes. Here we go. And the winners are from the Halloween Shirt Company free shirt, Mike Clark. From with Unsub Masks, the Doll Face Killer Mask, Matthew Taylor. From Atmos Effects, the Hall of Haunts, Katrina Manis.
Pandora
Ned's
doesn't like me to clap during the prizes.
Only because they can't hear me calling their name.
I know.
Woohoo! All right. Ned's LEDs Deluxe 12-volt LED sample pack goes to Chuck Melton. Monsters Alive, $25 off to Paco Hoopengartner.
What?
Hoopengarner. Paco Hoopengarner.
Paco, that's the most awesomest name ever.
I agree. Congratulations, Paco. Rotten Prop Works, set of zombie arms to Mike Johnson. Toxic Effects, Rotten Pumpkin #1 to David Gentry. Fright Night Studios, Frankenpumpkin to Tia Bidwell. Congratulations, Tia. Cobwebs and Candlesticks, The Cosmic Idol to Gretchen Leanne Webster. Woohoo! Congrats. Nightmare Makers, One Unfinished Skull to Steve Schwab. Drop Dead Design Studios, 25% off to Bob Connors. Woohoo, Bob. 916 Productions, $25 off to Chad Steckley. Congrats, Chad. Froggy's Fog, Gallon of Bog Fog, Samantha Black. Woohoo, Sam. Horror Ornaments, one free ornament goes to Courtney Lane Clappert.
That's a lot of prizes, man.
Fright Props, $50 off goes to Anthony Lordigan. Scarret Badges, $50 in free badges goes to Kenneth Joshua. Haunted Hills Productions Necro Nurse Mask goes to Grant Alexander Davidson. And for Monster Misfits, one bottle of Monster Blood goes to Dale Flink. Woo-hoo! Congratulations, winners.
Yay!
Thank you guys again for being here with us. We so appreciate all of our members for hanging out, for watching, for asking questions of everybody. Thank you to our sponsors for providing all these great prizes. Make sure you go to them first.
All your
haunt needs. That's right.
Getting that on a shirt.
Special thanks To our guests, Forde, Dylan, Sean, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us tonight and for talking with everybody about your amazingly epic haunts. We appreciate you so much.
you go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Now we're back
That's
in what,
it.
2 weeks, right?
We are back in 2 weeks. Yes, we are.
Yep. We're going to be doing a makeup show, I think. I'm pretty
Uh-oh.
sure.
I believe so. Let me double check here. Our schedule says yes. I believe Deoblo is correct. Makeup show. Makeup is coming.
Good job.
All right. Thank you everybody for being with us tonight. And with that, we out.
We out. See you in 2 weeks. Woo, woo, woo. Thank you, guys.